Hi everybody, welcome to BrickVault. My name is Jack, and today we are building an idea set. This is JK Brickworks Maze. This set is recommended for ages 10 and up. It is set number 21305 and it has 769 pieces. This maze is a game where you navigate a little Lego ball by articulating this platform using these two knobs. It's very easy to build your own custom setup for this, and this maze comes with one alternate castle build. Alright, I finally got some time to build this thing, so let's open it up and check out what's inside. So, inside the box, we've got about 7 bags. Some of these are repeats here. None of these bags are labeled, so we're probably gonna have to organize this by color. We came with a bunch of black plate pieces, a very large gray plate piece, and a pretty big manual. So there's a lot of stuff to build. Let's get started right now. Alright, I just built the underlying Technic Skeleton for the maze, and the movement feels pretty darn good. One knob tilts the structure side to side, and the other knob tilts the structure on the alternate axis. You can see there's a little bit of color coordination with the yellow and blue, so you don't get confused when putting the pieces together. All in all, it wasn't too strenuous of a build, and I think it works pretty darn well. Alright, now that the main structure is built, let's move on to the actual maze. Alright, so here is the ideas maze. First off, I gotta say the construction of this thing is pretty darn good. As you might imagine, it feels very solid. There's a little bit of Technic that sticks out on some of the sides. When you're not using the maze, it'll look like this at first. On this side, you take out the corner piece, and you can easily slide out the box that contains 4 of the balls. It's a nice little build, and keeping them here is a good way to make sure you don't lose any. On the opposite corner, there is a little black square, and after you've removed both of these boxes, now the maze is free to move around. The actual movement feels very solid. It's very smooth, I don't feel any catching, and it gives you a pretty good amount of control over what happens on the board. Here's a closer look at the mechanism underneath that makes this nice smooth action. And you can see it's nothing too complicated, just some Technic pieces connected at a few different joints. Putting the cover back on, let's check out the actual playing of the maze. The actual maze here I think is constructed very well. The black pits here don't fall through, but instead end up catching the ball when you mess up. I think this works a lot better. You can easily just pick the ball up and put it back at the start, or put it back at one of the safe corners when you're trying to pass the next area. One thing I gotta say about this actual maze design here is that it's constructed very well. The easier parts of the maze to navigate are definitely set towards the beginning, and they get more difficult as you move through. I'm not particularly good at these kinds of games, but here's a time lapse of me learning it, and this is how long it took me to complete the maze once without messing up. I've heard people complain before about the flat plates, creating small grooves between them that end up catching the ball and throwing off its course. I'd say that is a factor, but I think what affects the play a little bit more is the fact that these Lego balls are not 100% perfect spheres. The flat edges on the ball end up messing up the direction it goes sometimes, but very often you end up having to twist the knobs around a bit to get the ball moving again when it gets stuck. It's not a huge detraction, and you definitely figure out gentler ways to get the ball moving, but it is something you'll definitely be aware of once you start playing around. All in all, I'd say this is a great build. The game is a lot of fun to play and pretty addicting actually, and I wouldn't mind seeing more Lego build games in the future. Also, one last thing, there is an alternate build for a different maze that's somewhat castle themed, and the set comes with all those parts to build them. Unfortunately, you don't have extra plate pieces to have both versions of the maze built at the same time, but it's definitely good to have this as an option to change it up once you've mastered the first one. And obviously, this maze can be modded very easily. You could change it up quite a bit given the parts that already come with the set, but of course there really is no limit to what you could end up creating. Alright, so that's it for this episode. If you want to buy the LEGO Ideas Maze, we will leave a link in the video description below, and if you enjoy our content, feel free to subscribe. We will see you next time at BrickVault.